This is not meant to be any kind of comprehensive scholarly analysis. My brain here is a little frog, hopping along a slender log of a thought. The well-known saying has it, "A rolling stone gathers no moss." It's an observation, I think, not a judgment. A rolling stone is clean and free from attachments. It's rootless. In 1950, McKinley Morganfield, performing under the name Muddy Waters, cut the first record for a new operation in Chicago, Chess Records. The song he sang, accompanying himself on the guitar, was an old one, Catfish Blues, but the record was released as Rollin' Stone. In the song, the singer wishes he was a catfish, and all the good-looking women would go fishing for me. And he says he went to this lady's house and sat down outside. She said, "Come on in, Muddy. My husband just left." And he says his mother told his father, "Boy child comin', he's gonna be a rollin' stone." And he finishes by saying that he's gonna catch the first train and back down the road I'm going. It's a song about living a wayward life, trading home and security for the road and sexual adventure, and the consequent destruction of the family, because the Rolling Stone produces seeds but no roots, and it made Chess Records and Muddy Waters famous. He would sing it in his unmistakable yelping style while plucking his guitar, and people would clap and cheer. Over in England, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards and Brian Jones heard that song, and when they started playing music as a band, they called themselves the Rolling Stones. That's how far and fast and deep influence can travel. They played amplified rock and roll tinged with the blues. The Beatles had already staked out a territory, boyish and appealing, lots of love songs. The Stones went darker. They were naughty, their women weren't nice. They insinuated that something was off, not right. I can't get no, paint it black. They continued to push this image, eventually identifying themselves with Satan on an album and later in a song. Pleased to meet you, hope you guessed my name. At the end of the decade, the 1960s, they were playing an outdoor concert in California, which became known as the anti-Woodstock, when some Hells Angels who were providing security and crowd control beat a man to death while the Stones sang. In 1965, Bob Dylan, the former Robert Zimmerman, returned to America from a tour in England, documented in the movie Don't Look Back. He was famous as a folk singer and jaded. He said something like, "It's tough when so many people dig you and you don't even dig yourself." He did some writing in a notebook off the top of his head, pages and pages, a long piece of vomit, he called it, and from that he extracted lyrics for a song he called Like a Rolling Stone. And, funny thing, he dug it. It was unusual in several ways. It was 6 minutes long. He played it with a band using electric instruments. And it was a song with a sneering vocal about a woman, Miss Lonely, castigating her, she who was once at the pinnacle of society but now had fallen to the bottom, where this refrain hits her. How does it feel? How does it feel to be on your own, with no direction home, like a rolling stone? The song wheezes on, filling up with obscure references, a mystery tramp, a diplomat on a chrome horse, a Napoleon in rags, and it features notable, quotable lines such as, "You're invisible now, you've got no secrets to conceal," and "When you ain't got nothing, you ain't got nothing to lose," somehow flipping the song on its head and celebrating the liberation and newfound freedom of this one who was on her own, no direction home, a rolling stone. It might not be a bad thing after all. When Dylan began to sing that song at the Newport Folk Festival, someone in the crowd shouted, "Judas!" Dylan, upset, responded, "I don't believe you." He circled a bit and added, "You're a liar." And then he turned to his band and said, "Play it fucking loud." The clanking, ambling ballad became a huge hit, and it advanced Dylan's already prominent career. He graduated from being a famous folk singer into an iconic figure, the sainted gypsy, a leader, singer of protest songs, and the spokesman for his generation, exactly what he did not want. In California, Jan Wenner heard that song, and to him it was much more than music. It was a gospel, an anthem, a herald of things to come. In 1967, he and music critic Ralph Gleason founded a magazine they called RollStone2. The first few copies were in tabloid newspaper format, and then it settled into being a bi-weekly magazine. The first issue covered the Monterey Pop Festival, something of a legendary event that year. Gleason was content to cover music, but Wenner had a wider vision. He wanted the magazine to be about not just the music, though it centered on that, flowed from it, but also all the things and attitudes the music celebrated. That meant peace, love, and drugs, culture, and politics. The magazine was born in the far left, and it stayed there. Wenner loved politicians, as long as they were Democrats. The more liberal, the better. Like Governor Moonbeam, he was a trip, and the yuppies in Chicago for the '68 Democratic National Convention. The times they are a changin', Dylan sang, and Wenner believed in change. Change was good. RollStone was all about change. And the magazine not only wanted to report the scene, it wanted, ultimately, to be the scene, the arbiter of the scene. It would call the shots and anoint the true and gifted, scoring the evil barons, the masters of war. If the world was fucked up, Wenner could send out a reporter like Hunter Thompson, who was so fucked up that he was perfectly in tune with it. The magazine is known for its lists of the best of this and that, helping readers come to the right conclusions. Wenner has long since become a fixture in the establishment he continues to deplore. In 1971, two songwriters working for the powerhouse outfit that was Motown wrote a lyric for a group called The Undisputed Truth. It was called Papa Was a Rolling Stone. They recorded it and it went nowhere. The following year the song was recorded again, this time in a sprawling 12-minute version, employing spacey instrumentation that was called psychedelic soul. The singers were the Temptations, and this time the song became a huge hit. In the lyric, Papa has died, and the children take that occasion to ask Mama what he was like. They have heard things, people talk a lot about him, and they don't have any nice things to say. But Mama only replies, Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home, and when he died, all he left us was alone. The Rolling Stone is seen as a romantic figure, going his own way, resisting the guidance of society, but in doing so, he is also the ruin of the family. I think that Rolling Stone, in his absence, was the most significant figure of his generation.